promise, and I did all, everything I'd ever heard about Advent in one sermon. I've learned now to spread that over 3-4 weeks. But anyway, I'd only been to this parish since the middle of the summer, and I noticed that as people were leaving the church and shaking hands and that sort of stuff that morning, there was this one old fellow by the name of Earl, and he was kind of hanging out in the background, waiting for everybody else to clear out of the narthex. And Earl was an old Swede. His last name was Peterson. And usually he was the first one out of the church on Sunday. He couldn't wait for me to say the dismissal so he could fly out the door and beat everybody in town to the restaurant. We only had one. So I knew that when Earl was at the end of the line, rather than at the beginning of the line, that he had some word to place on the priest. So he very kindly waited until I had gotten out until everybody else had gotten out of the narthex. And then he came up to me and he said, "Pastor," in his Swedish accent, "Pastor, I want you to know that you have completely ruined Advent and Christmas for me this year." And I said, "Well, Earl, I'm sure that probably wasn't the best sermon I ever preached, but I guess it had to do." He said, No, it was the worst you ever preached. And I said, "Why is that?" And he said, "Because during your sermon, you told us not to get too anxious about things, because in the end, Christmas was going to come and everything would be all right." And he said, "You kind of let the cat out of the bag." He said, "Now, in one sense, we all know that. But he said, if you're going to preach about preach about resurrection on Good Friday, then why have Good Friday?" And so he said, "You kind of, told us that Christmas is here, and Christmas cheer, and not to be too serious about this Advent waiting, and not to be too serious about this, that, the other, and I just want you to know that this is going to be a real sad Christmas at my house, because you've already told me about it." So what are you going to say on Christmas Eve when we all come to church? Are you got a new take on it this year or something? Anyway, to this day, Earl Pearson is about 102, still lives in this little parish, writes me a Christmas card every year. And this year's hasn't come yet, but I'm sure it will. He hasn't missed one in 32 years. And he writes me a Christmas card right on the 24th of December. I get it about 3 or 4 days after Christmas. And he usually has some smart remark about, "Well, you couldn't mess this one up for me." And we actually have a lovely relationship, and he became one of my great supporters and fans when I was in that parish. But I mean, he took me to the cleaners on that day. And so I've been very careful through Advent never to say, MC.
Yes.
We had to wait till a little closer to Christmas for that. Anyway, it's good to see you. And I thought I would just say a couple of sentences about a couple of things going on, and then I'll be glad to answer questions. Please stop the bishop, whatever. But one of the things I hope you noticed, if you read the Atlanta Journal-Constitution yesterday, there were actually 2 articles in the paper yesterday. There's a bunch of ads for Christmas services in the Episcopal churches. You probably saw those too. But there were 2 articles. One was about the ministry of the Church of Common Ground in the living section, the outdoor church in which Bob and Holly Book and Carol Maddox and Mike and some others are doing wonderful, wonderful work at the parish there, the outdoor parish. They do have a little storefront on Trinity Place for those days when the weather is really cold or nasty or bad. But they have a whole rota of doctors and nurses and medical practitioners who come in and help the afternoon of the week. And then they have Bible. One of the things Mom said to me recently, he said, one of the things he said, we want to make sure this is not just social programs. We have doctors and nurses and other people to help when they're ill or have blisters on their feet or whatever it may be. But he said we also want this to have a spiritual component component. So we have Holy Communion several times a week. He said I sometimes baptize homeless people, and we have classes of various sorts of that, and we have Bible study. And he said, I can't tell you what a life-changing thing it is to sit around the table with 8 or 10 homeless people, read the scriptures, and ask them to tell about what that means in their life. And he said there are some profoundly connected souls who love the Lord, who love the life of faith, and so forth, but who at this point are walking the streets of the city and who are homeless, but they haven't forgotten what they learned in Sunday school or what they learned in church or at times in their lives when they could actually claim the scriptures as their own and work with them and study them and be fed by them. It was a powerful, powerful story. If any of you have some time off on an occasional afternoon and want to volunteer at the Church of the Common Ground, you'd be more than welcome. Another article that you may not have caught was the future of the ministry of Nicholas House. Nicholas House is a series, a group of shelters around Metro that deal particularly with broken families, children whose parents have left, in some cases battered spouses, those kinds of things, real tragic situations. One of the larger centers is actually St. Bartholomew's Church in what is their old Sunday school building. And so, and a lot of the churches on the east side of Atlanta provide meals and support and help in a whole variety of ways for Nicholas House. I just thought it was interesting that on this particular Saturday before Christmas, there were two very significant articles that in one way or the other highlighted ministries of our community in which the Episcopal Church has either been there to create it and then extend that support to other churches, or in some cases like the Church of the Common Ground, they are us, and what a gift that is. And so I just hope that you'll think in these next few days during Christmas or whatever, just to know that as you're doing your work here and your outreach and other kinds of things that I'm sure that St. Matthew's is doing in this community, that in other parts of the diocese there are actually people out on the street, with gloves and toboggans and socks and food and sandwiches and whatever else, bringing a little bit of holiday Christmas cheer to people who are in significant need. And it's not about you going to leave your parish and go to other places. They got some great organ player over there this afternoon. You might go over there and sit back and enjoy it. And what a good thing that is. So we're working on a lot of those communication efforts. I'd be interested to see what your response is to the Episcopal Ad Project ad that was put in the AJC yesterday. Basically, there's a picture of the Nativity, and the caption says, for a religion that was born in a barn, an open door goes without saying. The Episcopal Church welcomes you. The 95 congregations of the Episcopal Church in Middle and North Georgia welcome you home for Christmas, and so forth. So anyway, it's a good time. I think